Hey, what's up, everybody? We are playing weird openings today, which doesn't mean like absurd stuff, but openings that I don't normally play. So I'm outside my normal repertoire here, experimenting with different stuff. That's the idea, not to play like h4 on move one. International Master William Pascal here, looking at my correspondence games for some reason. But welcome everyone. Thanks for subscribing. Acerbate or Acerbate. Someone was calling him Ace. Acerbate. It's like acerbic, the acerbic tongue. Soltico's here. It's like kind of early in the morning for Soltico. So we got 4 challenges, and Troll on a Roll is here, but he's second. Actually, he's a subscriber, so we'll take him first. Maluts, I call him Maluts because it looks like mullets in Hungarian. Maluts we haven't seen in like a year, I don't think. He has actually quite a few games. I don't know why your unrated games don't show up as games played, but I never really thought about it. M477, I can also call him that. We had some games way back, but I thought he had a rating before. Now he doesn't have any rating, which is kind of weird. Maybe it's like the second account that looked the same or something. So Troll in a Row, Morales, Fat President, Soltigo, Pascal Troll. I noticed this account the other day, but that's not how you spell my name. So either it's not about me or they're just ignorant. All right, the Troll in a Roll. We'll start here. Troll, as far as I know, is still a subscriber. Guys, thank you so much for subscribing. Troll usually, I've got to play the opening better. He's usually getting the upper hand in the opening. No weird openings in chess 960. What am I going to do here with my queen as usual? It seems strange that I'm always concerned about my queen getting into the game. It's funny how in normal chess, like, you don't really think about it. You know, it's just like natural that it's the last piece that gets in the game. Whereas in chess 960, it seems to be something that really sort of disturbs me. You know, I don't like when my queen is like buried. Whereas like in normal chess, okay, you tend to start thinking about it like in a later opening, connecting your rooks and getting the queen, you know, into a good position. But no, that's not Troll. I mean, I don't think so. I think this is another Troll. He's gone now. There was Pascal, like the French spelling of Pascal Charbonneau. All right, Knight C3. Troll in the Roll, 2nd edition. I don't think so. He would chess 960 me, but it's not. It's Pascal Troll. So it's a troll named Pascal. I can't even say my name correctly in French. Pascal. Knight C3, maybe Troll in a Roll is, no, he's typing into the chat room there. Like he's hungry. He was embarrassed by a spelling mistake and he went to make a new one. Well, a lot of people do that. My name is tricky to pronounce and spell, so when I would go to restaurants or something with friends, if the restaurant reservation was in my name, I would like spell it wrong on purpose because people just can't get it right anyway. So you might as well just tell them that. You know, I would often tell them like Pascal because they can't spell it right. It's just easier to remember. So Knight C3 E5. I wish this was normal chess. I have some preparation for this, but I'm like reaching to put my knight on F3. That's a hallucination that happens to me a lot. I'm sure to other people as well, obviously. In chess 960, you start hallucinating that the pieces are kind of where they should be, especially when they're like adjacent to the normal square. Like in this case, my knight is on h1, but it's close to the normal square, so when you're looking at the board kind of from a little bit farther away, you start thinking that your knight is, you know, going to f3. And yeah, that's about the size of it. So g3 buries my knight on h1. All right, play something a little more conservative than g3. Vodka Drunk. Vodka Drunk has a hangover from that viewer tournament last night with their new account. Who is that guy? What was it again? I can't remember the name now. I hate Bullet, don't ban me. So maybe they just really do hate Bullet and they don't want to get banned because people who don't play Bullet are computers? Is that the idea? Strong players who don't play Bullet are judged as computers. So that must be the justification for his weird name. I don't really have a better idea. That's my only theory on that. If I put my knight on g3, this knight is coming to f4 forever. So it's like a no-win situation. It'll come out through f2 eventually. Bishops are difficult to develop in these setups in 960. Everything is difficult to develop. It's not about bishops. It's like queens are difficult to develop. Knights are difficult to develop. Just developing is difficult. I never really realized that the normal starting position I think is not like randomly chosen. I mean, I was just honestly kind of assumed like the starting position of the chess pieces was just kind of randomly chosen, but I guess that's not the case. You know, it seems like there's something behind it more than randomness. But maybe that's just really from being skewed from playing that setup for so many years. What do you guys think? I mean, is there something more to the starting position, the normal chess starting position? You know, are the pieces better coordinated in that way, or is it just from playing millions of games with that setup that I feel like it's more appropriate somehow? Feel free to send me a challenge, Mubat said. Anyway, Soltico, thanks for being here with us. How's the webcam today? Is it stuck? No. Yesterday it got stuck. You think the symmetry helps? Okay. This is a good point. Symmetry might very well help. That's an interesting thesis. Possible. I'm not sure. He's got bishop h5 check. I guess it doesn't really do anything. I wanted to play f3 anyways. Anyways is not a word. Bishop h5 is still probably a good move. I like how he went knight g6 and knight e7, moving the same piece twice in 3 moves. Now he's getting really random with the a5. But liberating the queen actually makes a lot of sense. It also looks like I'm castling kingside here. It feels like he definitely should have. He definitely should have played bishop h5 check. It would have loosened up my position on the white squares. Also made queen a7 a little bit stronger. Okay, I can play knight f2. But it would also block my bishop on g2 and reduce my pressure on d5. So there were just like a zillion reasons to play bishop h5 check. Not to mention developing piece. What about this variation of the game? Each side places her pieces freely without knowing how the opponent is placing her own. Then the game starts, right? Yo Batis, one of the people who's not here that often, mentioned this. He called it double chess 960. Or double Fisher random, I don't remember. I guess, I don't know if that's its like official name or what, but yeah, I mean, that's more random, but more, okay, it is called Fisher random, right? It's more random, but more fun, probably. More interesting. I moved my bishop again. The cheapo, bishop e6 check. That was a coffee sound. Well, it wasn't actually the coffee, that was... Good call, man. You've got very strong sensory abilities. Fat President is on the money with the sound identification. I didn't realize I was doing it. You know how some people have that habit of like stirring their coffee really, really loudly? It's kind of like playing with the change in your pocket. That's another pet peeve of mine. Old guys do that all the time at chess tournaments. those old guys who like watch the games and they go next to your board and they've got like coins in their pocket and start like twinkling or whatever. There's like a verb, an action verb for, I don't know, jingling. That's it. Jingling the change in their pocket. Twinkling. Twinkling the change in their pocket. Here I've got knight a4. Uh-oh. But am I actually doing anything with this knight a4? Am I just getting lured into my demise? I feel like I'm out on this crazy tangent here. My knight on h1, screw it. It's just I'm playing peace odds this game. Going with my instinct. Soltigo drunk? That I haven't seen. Yeah. Fat President, yeah, my ex-president from Chess Club is doing coin pocket sounds every time. That's like the worst, man. It just makes you absolutely crazy. It's sort of like Chinese water torture. You're trying to concentrate really hard and there's this really ignorant dude. The top 10 chess peeves. The other one is like twirling the pieces, the opponent like twirling the pieces like right in front of your line of vision. I'm sure that there's some people who do that on purpose. If you want to really piss off your opponent, it's an excellent technique. Highly recommend it. But what am I doing here? Knight c5. That queen is like looking bad, actually. I don't know where my knight's going, per se. I can force a repetition of position with queen a8, knight a4. I had a different plan and then I changed my mind for some reason. Why did I change my mind? We can repeat moves. The Nepomniachtchi does that all the time. Like, if you did it just on your time and not directly in front of the board, it's kind of okay. But if you do it on your opponent's time and in their line of vision, one or the other, then I think it's like, you know, really bad. So I was thinking knight a4, queen a6, knight b6, rook b8, knight c4. Man, then he's just going back to g6. It's not so easy. All right. I'm probably missing some obvious better move, but the e5 pawn is hanging. I can't give him time to play d6, I guess. Does Budapest have a chess park like New York? Nah, yeah, but not really. It's funny like that, you know? You'd think like this kind of stuff, like, you know, you would imagine in Russia, like in Gorky Park. I mean, Moscow must have a lot of outdoor chess. You'd think like this sort of Soviet stuff would have carried over here. There are like some parks where some old dudes play chess, but it's extremely weak. Extremely weak. Like, no masters. Very low level chess. So no, I mean, it's funny. You can't really play for money on any sort of reasonable level. What did I hallucinate here? Okay. Yeah, this is probably what I saw the first time around, and then I bailed on it. So I failed miserably here. Fail. Okay, bishop takes e4 doesn't look good. We're forked. Yeah, there's a couple parks. The Varosh Mayor, where I never go, has some games outside, but as I said, like, there's basically no masters. I mean, any American city would probably have a better outdoor chess scene than Budapest, which is really sad. Only weak, extremely weak, only no. I don't think there's any 2200s. I think that would be the maximum. Come on, man. I mean, I lived in Boston for like 15 years. We had a really strong outdoor chess scene. Sometimes there were like 10 masters in the outdoor chess cafe. I mean, 10 masters at the same time, you know? I mean, for a city like Budapest to have no outdoor chess scene, this is a strange time to lose on time. He's got f takes e4. I thought I'm just not even better here. What? Stockfish is claiming a massive advantage for white based on my development? Wow. Based on development and king safety. That's crazy. I mean, I would have played knight takes e5, e takes d3, knight takes d3. I didn't think I had that much here. Stockfish claims b3 is like a really big advantage. Okay, I have this, which I was looking at earlier. But he has b5. And then I guess I just have this big development lead. I didn't think it was that big a deal, but Engine really likes it. All right. So I mean, I think like most cities in the world have a better casual chess scene than Budapest, sadly. All right. Morales, Fat President, isn't a subscriber. Morales is Soltigo doesn't like me to take his Pascal troll. That must be Vodka Drunk's new account. How could you be 1200? No. Doesn't make sense. Vodka Drunk couldn't possibly be 1200, could he? Alright. Let's get to as many challenges as I can, guys. I'm taking the subscriber guys first. On Friday, I've implemented a new scheme. Only those of you who watched the episodes of Faulty Towers would appreciate the reference. I've implemented a new scheme, including playing everybody, not just the subscribers, based on like, you know, when they showed up. But anyway, I'm supposed to play unusual openings. I remembered on the first game today. Well, Nefridov actually played at your chess club. What? You're talking about like now? But as in like this week, or why do you mention this just now, Arsenal fan? Oh, it was before you joined the club. Yeah, you guys could actually play in like a league match or something like that. So, knight c3, knight c6. Here I am like hoping for something interesting. He does the symmetrical defense. Who plays knight c6 against knight c3? Last night I was like going over all these possibilities in my head, like what would happen. You know, if I play f4 here, d5 looks pretty strong. That's really disappointing. To prepare knight c3 and face knight c6. Please. The symmetrical dunce. Man, that really sucks. I wanted to get an interesting game. We get this. Well, what happened? Koi TV. That's you. Okay, Romy. Thank you for subscribing. Okay, so we got another subscriber that I forgot about. Romy is a subscriber. Tushar S4. We'll leave Soltigo for later. He doesn't like me to take him ahead of the subscribers. Soltigo is our moderator, in case you don't know. Knight c3, knight c6. Morales wanted to make it weird. You're making it not weird. Yeah, you're making it weird by making it not weird. Okay, knight c3, knight c6. That was the one move I failed to take into consideration when I was like thinking last time, what kind of interesting weird openings can I play? Knight c3, d5, knight c3, e5. What else can they do? You know, g6. No, knight c6. Now we'll transpose to either like some kind of Vienna game, or maybe, what else can it be? Now that's interesting. I'll give you credit for that one, Morales. f5. Okay. You're basically doing what I wanted to do. Doing what I wanted to do. Some sort of setup with like knight c3 and f4 and a king's gambit type of theme. One of my ideas when I set out to play knight c3, I was thinking of Soltigo, who plays these weird variations with knight c6 and f5. I thought we can try to do it with white, you know, some kind of king's gambit, like a backdoor move order to the king's gambit. E4, d4, you know, d4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, d5. I wonder how bad that actually is. That might actually be quite good for black, strange as it might seem. But we have another move. Okay, this is interesting. I'm glad that we went here now. Thank you for making it interesting, Rallis, with F5. Your Vienna Gambit game? Soltigo, I don't think I did, actually. What Vienna Gambit game? You mean, are you talking about... Wait, what are you talking about? Soltigo, which Vienna Gambit game? You're not talking about that game you sent me last week where you played... No, you're not talking about that. What game would I have seen? Refresh my memory, because I don't have any Vienna Gambit games in mind. The one I played, Queen takes e5. Queen takes e8, sacrifice the queen. Now I forgot, though. I'm sorry. Too much information spinning around. Whoa, knight f6. That doesn't look right. Okay, Morales got... Well, he goes knight e4 here. I was going to say he lost his mind. It's d5, knight e4. I mean, e5, knight e4. That is strange. Never seen anything quite like that. But I can play d5. Wow. I think if I take on f5, he plays d5, and it's like a... It's a kind of... whatever the Colorado Gambit or whatever they call that. It's probably not sound for black, but taking on f5 looks like it's not that good. I can play d5 or e5 here. At first I thought e5 just wins by force, but he has knight e4, and that looks strange, but possibly not losing for black. Very hard to believe that's a good position. Wait. Yeah, there's all sorts of tricks, like e5, knight e4, take, d5, knight takes e5, queen h5 check. He just saves his knight. It reminds me of the Staunton Gambit of the Dutch. I guess we'll go with the space here. Space race. But now I could take on f5. It's a much better version. Pawn takes f5. Now I can only play like d6. Which looks sort of lame. The obvious conclusion is f4. I don't think that this is good for black. I expected knight f7 there. Well, now I'm hitting him with tempo. Pawn takes f5, knight h4. Okay, this just has to be bad for black. I mean, there's no way this is okay. The amoeba. Craziness. So knight e4 only move. I mean, you could play knight g4, but that's just patently bad. Don't try this at home, kids. Looks very, very dubious for black, but yet still not that easy to break him up. I think I can just take and win that pawn on e4 here. That looks like the solution, or a solution. Now, will cost us a little bit of time. So there are other options. I could play h4. h4, e6, and black hangs on with retreat back to e7. Or even h5. We should go for the material, I guess. I'm low on time. Yeah, no, I play d4 against me. I want to learn that opening. What is this opening anyway? That was the coffee sound again. So do I want to take on e6 and maybe simplify? Not really, do I? I don't think so. Take on e4 takes c6, but anyway he's gaining time. Maybe I'm better off simplifying. Take. Even the endgame would be good for me. But he's gonna like sort of hang on to the material there. I could get in time pressure here. Alright. A pawn is a pawn, and I have a strong center, but he's not losing out of hand here. Yeah, this is the only continuation. Stockfish seems to have an obsession with putting its queen on c4. It's probably suggesting that here. c4 and c5 are the computer's favorite squares. I guess we go back to the center. Wow, he just doesn't care. What is going on here? Did you really plan that? He's going to put his king on f7, I guess. That's not safe, no. Well, none of this is safe. f5 with a very subtle threat. But he's got bishop takes d6, so I have to be careful about my king now. He's playing rook e8 quickly. That's pretty awkward, wow. Morales, what's up with the time, man? He's got crazy compensation here. Rook takes is not going to cut it. Oh my goodness. What's with the time use? 1500 in bullet, Morales. Just losing one of these pawns back. Oh, it's only one pawn. That's a problem. I'm only up one pawn. So he's got a fully playable position. Amazing sort of resourceful defense. How are you 1500 in bullet? That I don't understand. I never really paid attention before, but can someone explain to me how that's possible? That he's 1500 in bullet? The guy sometimes plays close to candidate master strength. I'm just blundering my pawn back, well, losing it, but I couldn't save it anyway. I guess this is hanging. I feel uncomfortable though. Black has a sort of initiative. Like one mistake and I could even lose. Kind of doubt I can hang on to my extra pawn here. Two minutes. That's a lot of crumbling to be 1500, Antonio. But it's only 90 games, so you don't really play bullet. Alright. He only plays blitz, basically. There's only 85 rapid games. But you should think about being a professional sandbagger. Actually quite fast. Sandbagger, for those of you who don't know, it's like a air balloon. Someone who purposely lowers their balloon by losing games on purpose. Tournament players know what I'm talking about when I say that, but if you're not, you know, come from the chess tournament world, you're kind of like, what is a sandbagger? I'm accusing Morales of intentionally having a... oh, just kidding. He only has like a few games. What's going on there? He dropped a piece. So he did. He melted down. He's got 2 minutes. He gets nervous or something. Nervous. Why did you lose a piece? He's got plenty of time. Really, black was like equal after all that craziness in the opening. Computer claims he's not quite equal, but man, he made it really close here. He's on the verge of equal at this point. That's what I thought. I mean, basically he did. He equalized at move 18 or move 16. Apparently bishop g4 is even better. You slipped with the slightly inaccurate bishop f5. You only got to analyze every move for 2 minutes. Then without analyzing in 10 seconds. Yeah, I do like to spend the longer time. I was thinking, what was I thinking? Well, I just like to take my time and enjoy myself. But then when we're pressed, we have to move quickly. Alright, so Soltigo I'm going to leave for later. S4. Guys who are subscribers, I'll take first. Okay, Will, I know you can't read chat during your game, so I just wanted to chat it up a bit before I eat. Oh man, don't talk about burritos. I'm stuck here in Budapest. I mean, they have Mexican restaurants, but it's not quite the same. Why do you have to tease me like that? Knight f3, b5. Alright, so I wasn't thinking I would have had to have played like b4 myself. Now he's playing the unusual opening here. Polish defense. After knight f3, b5, I got distracted. I wanted to play knight c3. We're going to try knight c3 again. b4 or b5 I played myself in one game. The idea is to stop c4, you know. So if we don't have c4, we have like inferior e4 variations or d4. But I'm declaring this an unusual opening based on b5. So now I can just play what I want. We'll try to play the best we can play after e4. I think that maybe d4 is a better setup though, because knight f3. Okay, now he's transposing to the St. George. Knight f3. It's a little earlier than I like to play it. If people play like b6 or a6 and b5 straight up, I would rather delay knight f3 in favor of bishop d3 and queen e2. Remember, you're playing a master. He's close to master. I don't think he's rated master, but I called him close to master yesterday. He's got 4 out of 10 against me, which is quite reasonable. Vodka Chess Drunk says, weird move is the best move, and if luck, it works even better. Well, I used to play more unusual openings. I played this defense for black quite a bit, but I wouldn't put my knight on c6. I mean, this is a very strange setup. Although it's sometimes done in the, it's actually played in the what am I trying to say? The Owen defense with b6. So s4 is combining like Owen defense themes with knight c6. Maybe it's playable. But in the Owen defense, you would normally do it using the idea of e5 somehow. So how would that work? Yeah, it's hard though. Owen defense is different. It's just too early. I think it's too early to play the knight to c6. You should probably delay it. He doesn't have c5 now. It makes it hard for him to get any sort of counterplay. If you look at analogous variations with b6 instead of a6 and b5, you'll find there's like one line with knight f6 and knight c6. And then black plays e5. I had a game like that with the Vietnamese Grandmaster Bui Vinh, where I won with white. I don't really think that the Owen defense is quite so good. You don't see too many top players playing e4, b6. The St. George has problems too. The St. George is like a6, b5. But this is a transposition. Yeah, now he plays this a5. So here I was thinking about a5. Obviously I have a lot of possibilities. d5 looks pretty strong. But maybe d5 not that great because he can play knight e7. I was actually thinking about a4 now. Because if I just ignore it, he's threatening a4, a3. Is that really a threat, though? The other thing about the guy, he's super fast. Very unorthodox here. If d5, knight e7, it's an interesting approach, though, something new. I'm going to play a4. I should just trust my instinct more. But the thing is, it's fine to trust your instinct and play on intuition, but that doesn't help you guys get better. You know, okay, you can watch me play and try to understand what the reasoning behind my moves is, but it's not helping you that much as talking about the game. So playing by intuition is maybe better for my personal results, but being able to explain to you guys what I'm doing, you know, that's the most important thing. E4, B6, O1 for Magnus Carlsen. The only person who I know who plays that on a regular basis is the French Grandmaster Christian Bauer, who wrote a book on it, I believe. But he plays a lot of weird openings. Okay, now D5 really ought to be good for white. Kind of hard to maintain my center, though. D5, he goes back there. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Why do I have to go d5? I should just maintain the status quo. I also have the Queen's Gambit, like maneuver knight f1. I'm not sure if this is too early. There are many situations where maybe I would benefit from my knight going to like c4 or b3. It's like a Roy Lopez, but he hasn't played e5 and d6. Castling. e5 was probably strong right away for me there, but I like to get all my pieces developed. Eating the burrito now, can't chat. Alright, well, San Diego, CUSA. If you can keep it warm, feel free to send me one in the mail. They do that with lobsters, but I don't know about burritos. Okay, frozen burritos. It's just not the same, you know. But for that matter, you know, you don't want frozen lobsters either. They have to be fresh. Yeah, you can send a live lobster anywhere in the world. This is one of the stranger conversations that I've had. D6 a very good idea, because if he didn't do D6, I was going to play E5, and I missed my window of opportunity last move. Instead of castling, I could have done E5, but then again, he's not castled either, so it wasn't so simple. Now we entered this twilight zone of ultra closed position. We've got to go for thematic ideas. Know your pawn breaks. Know your role. Space advantage. I've got the bad knight on g3, which I talk about a lot. It's not a really well-placed piece. In this case, I have so much space, it might be able to play a positive attacking role with the square h5. But black's play, actually I thought maybe knight b8 to play bishop a6 would have been the best plan there for s4. We could go total Steinitzian here with the piece sacrifice, probably like f4. Just sack a piece with f5. Even knight h5 is possible. Steinitz, f5, pawn takes f5. This is really bad for black now. He's got tricks based on piece sacrifices. If I play f5, he's on e5 twice. That's amazingly tricky. So I probably should just play king h1. Then he can play bishop a6, avoiding some of the danger by trading off my bishop. Dude, he did this with like no time. Queen b8, queen a7. You know, okay, he may not be a master, but he has some amazingly quick thinking sometimes. Bishop takes h7 check is even possible. But f5 looks like a strong attack. Could sacrifice a piece with knight takes d4, pawn takes d4. 3 pawns for a piece. Not quite good enough because I have bishop b2. Man. Abstract position. Do I know the what gambit? Oh, you're not asking me. How many bits? Tushar, never tell anyone how many bits you have. You know, truly rich man never reveals how many bits they actually have. f5. So, what was I thinking? Well, I expected bishop a6. I mentioned that before. I actually anticipated knight b8, bishop a6. He could have played bishop a6 last move. It's his worst piece. Mark Dvoretsky, the renowned trainer, one of the simple things he imparted to me was this strategy of the worst piece. You know, if you have no idea what to do, it's very basic advice, but you should try to improve your worst piece. But this looks bad for black. White should have a winning attack here. Should have and does have are different things. Not so easy to mate him, strangely enough. But maybe it is. Maybe it is. Queen g4 check, no. Queen h5. Okay, we're playing for g7. For mating him on g7. And I have a very deep idea here. I hope it works. He's kind of bottled up. So he's planning on protecting g7 with... He's planning on protecting g7 with that bishop. If I trade the bishop off, then he can't protect g7 with it, right? He could try to run away. That's sort of his only hope now. Or maybe I'm being too optimistic, but it looks like his only hope is to run away. Run, run, run. Get on your horse and run away. But it's not true. It's not his only hope. There's some other abstract possibilities here. Strange. Knight b4 is crazy looking idea. Where does this guy come up with this stuff? I have knight f3. Knight f3, queen takes d3. Isn't that convenient? And he's got a minute more than me, with his king just wide open there on g8. Amazingly creative player. Koi TV, thank you. Well, Koi won. Thank you for the... That's 200 bits. Now he's trading queens. Trying to trade queens. Man. I mean, it's strange to trade queens when you're down material. Okay, what do I do? He has all these practical chances here. Look at this piece, is very active. objectively losing, but I mean, he's now got his king safe. A lot of pawns for the piece. Dangerous counterplay. Look at that pawn island. His speed is unreal. Like he's... There's no stopping him. Brute force. But I'm just running out of time. I should have taken on g6. That was a terrible blunder. Wasn't it? Well, maybe it's not so simple. We do have some big threats here. Threatening knight g5. Oh my god. Where's the mate? Wait. What am I going to do here? Knight takes f7? Doesn't even work? He's got a defense to everything. It's not even normal, dude. Check him out. I had to give back my extra piece. How does this guy come up with this stuff? He's got too many threats here. I think he had better in that position. This looks pretty good too. He's just faster than me. Rook takes g2 looks like a blunder. Yeah, he just sort of panicked. But I don't want to count him out yet. Can't count him out yet. It's a really demented game. I'm sure that Black was just winning before. But he plays extremely fast. Oh, this is a bluff. It's not a bluff. Oh my god. Now he's like winning. But he blundered again. Oh man. He had knight takes h4 winning. You're just winning right there at the end. Damn. You're just winning with knight takes h4 check. This was horrible. It was just totally out of control. So many mistakes at the end of the game. What a creative game by Black. Our Centipon loss is going to be like record setting in this game. I love Queen B8. Look at the cardiogram on the end, man. A cardiograph, whatever. It's like Black's winning, White's winning, Black's winning, White's winning, Black's winning, White's winning. It was really bad. Okay. Tushar Kamde, Romy, and Arsenal fan. We've got so many challenges today. What is up on lichess? Oh, I chose Romy first. Sorry, guys. I'll do Tushar next. Clicked in the wrong order. Come, Slaggy, play me this time. It doesn't matter. You guys, all the subscribers will play, plus some extra people. I'm supposed to play unusual openings. I thought about this Mexican defense for something different. This is kind of a theme now. Tushar I'll play next. Meant to play you there. Then Arsenal fan, Haberbomb, Juicebox Wizard, M. Matkun is like, yeah, you're only like 15th on the list. But we'll play you first. C4. It's like Machiavellian. Alright, C4. Whatever, just let me know when you're available. C4, E5, or C4, E6. C4, E5. No, it's original possibilities here. Because it's not really the two knights tango. I can play E5. Let's try that. Okay, it's maybe like a straight up... What would you call this? Well, it's really not... It's not possible in any other openings. Only this Mexican defense, as it's called. I guess the most critical must be D5. I was thinking about this yesterday. But it's not so clear, you know, that D5 is even the best move. It's not that obvious. Yeah, dude, I'm very scared. Yeah, that's why I'm not playing you, because you're 15th in a list of like 15 players or something. That's obviously brand new account or something. No. All right, let's go E4. It's a weird opening. I don't like my knight on G6 here. I'm scared, man. I've never played anyone as good as you before. Never in my life. F5, E4, F5, or G6. I don't really like this knight G6, but it is a kind of standard idea in these sort of positions. But it's going to be a problem if his H-pawn comes down. Here we can at least get the bishop outside the pawn chain. So bishop C5, bishop E4 check. I don't know which one of these is better. Maybe bishop C5. I'm just kidding too. I'm having fun. But a lot of times people expect me to like take their challenge, take my challenge first. You know, there's like 13 people waiting. So what am I supposed to do? You know, we only take women IMs and women FIDE masters. Ladies first. There was the WCM, who I lost 2 games with, like in the last couple weeks. She's like 1900 FIDE, but plays like 2200 plus bullet blitz. That's a little weird for me, you know. I would like easily like win, you know, almost every game against the normal 1900 FIDE player, but she's like gotta be a master. Okay, D6. Okay, so Romy, I think that the best way would be some very aggressive setup based on like H4, H5, but it's not like a safe, sort of principled, traditional way to play the game. That's a kind of exception to the rule. You know, for beginners, I mean, normally it's scary to play this stuff, you know, with going crazy with the H pawn. But it's probably appropriate here. This is a quandary. I don't really like fixing his, you know, control of like the f4 square. If I take, it improves his control of f4. And the other options don't look that good for me either. Maybe in the interest of quick development, I could let him take on c5 perhaps. It's not so simple here. Just in the interest of quick development, I'm going to do this. But it looks like white is fine in this position. It's probably about equal. It's a weird situation because e4, I mean, that pawn, if I play f5, he might get e4 for his pieces. It's my break, but at the same time, it liberates his bad bishop. So it's kind of controversial to play this move. I might have other problems besides just giving his white square bishop some breathing area. It has queen b3. There's queen b3 with my b7 pawn. I wouldn't play that right away, but just down the line. This is a good idea, but he might have lost a piece. Not quite. Unfortunately for Romy, I don't know if he calculated this, but he has e4, knight d4, so he doesn't have to lose a piece here. I mean, it's a very complicated position, though. But this is a good move strategically to trade your bad bishop for my better one. E4, knight d4. Queen h4 check doesn't do anything. Queen g5. Queen g5 is kind of interesting. He has to take on f5 or play another weird move. If he takes my bishop on f5, I could play any number of things. Okay, this is very complicated. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Queen g5 attacks several things at the same time. Although I have to be careful. He has knight takes f5, pawn takes d3, knight takes g7 check, king f7, knight e6, with the knight entrenched in a monstrous position. Queen g5, knight takes f5, takes, check, king there, knight there, queen takes e3 check. You know, his king isn't safe. This is very complicated. His king isn't safe, but my king isn't entirely safe after knight takes f5. He doesn't have to play knight takes f5. Maybe he does, though, because e3 is hanging with check. I could even take back on f5. Man, that's a lot of chats there, Arsenal fan. You just filled up the screen. We got excited. This is not a football stream. Alright. Queen g5. He's going to start doing chants and stuff. Don't start singing football chants in the chat there. Queen g5. Queen takes e3. Queen takes g2 and takes on d3 are all possible threats. Random moves like queen a4 check, probably not good because of bishop d7. Okay, this move I didn't calculate. I think he loses a piece here to queen takes e3 check. But let's just double check. Queen takes, king h1, queen takes d4, queen a4 check. I can play bishop back to d7. That's a very important resource. So I think that Romy just, you know, he played according to principle, but he stopped calculating. All of his moves are principled, but he's simply not calculating enough. There's no substitute. You've got plenty of time. You just need to brute force calculate more here. There was a lot going on in that position. Looks like you just lose a piece now. We're just yelling at our monitors. Acerbate. Anyway, the recent cheer Acerbate won. Romy sent in, I think, a cheer of 100 and 200. Well, he sent in a 500 cheer. I hope he's not mad now that he's losing a piece. Alright, rook takes f5. We're just winning. We've got better development. Our king is a little exposed, but that's not a serious problem. He does have queen a4 check, though. But our king is actually fairly safe. Our king is actually fairly safe on e8, e7. The dark squares, he doesn't have... I just don't know which way to capture here on d3. My king will chill on e7, where it's difficult to get at him. We can shield the king frontally with a knight. Is my queen vulnerable to getting trapped? It's actually more mobile on d4. But I didn't miss anything here. Finally, I decided to keep the queen on d4. I'm on b2. It seems like it has like a lot of mobility from d4. So rather than taking with the queen takes d3, taking here. But I would recommend for roaming there, you got quite a bit of time. It's kind of tactical, and I think you just need to calculate more. Just keep calculating till you're sure what's going on. But you played more like on intuition. But oftentimes intuition is simply not enough. You know, you played according to principle, castling, developing your pieces, but it just wasn't good in that particular situation. So as I said, like shielding my king, or maybe developing a piece is better here. I could castle queenside. I like queen e1 though. This is a tricky move in a way, creating new ideas. I didn't really anticipate that. But I still now have the option to castle queenside. I had basically been considering only queen a4 check. Then obviously castling queenside wouldn't be an option anymore once I had to go with the king, but he's down a piece here, but black could lose. If I was an amateur player, I could easily lose this position. My king is temporarily trapped in the center. So I wouldn't necessarily resign if I was facing another player with the same rating, who was under 1700, say. I wouldn't automatically resign. Anytime the opponent's king is not safe, I had this game which I had this game which I once in a while sort of vent about, where I was playing my current teammate, Grandmaster Huang Trong, and she this is a KG move, queen e6. She lost a rook in complications, and I sort of just wrote her off. You know, I was nervous. It was an important game, and I thought she would just resign, but she didn't resign. She kept playing. She had the queens on the board. There were checks. You know, it was absolutely okay to not resign. You know, even though she was objectively lost, there were still a lot of traps. After the game, I was upset, and I was venting my anger, and I kind of yelled at her. I said, like, how can you not resign? You know, don't you ever resign? But it was very unsportsmanlike of me. I mean, objectively, it was kind of a borderline case of whether to resign or not, but it proved that she was right. You know, I found a way to like get mated or something, or lose all my pieces. So this is another case like that. He's down a rook, but with the king in the center, I don't think you should resign. Yeah, Tushar, I said that earlier. I know, but there's always like some new people, so. But it's my one most recent example of, you know, being up a lot of material. We're talking about, you know, a whole rook. I can't really recall that many games where I've blown it like a rook up. Once it happened against Onishuk, my biggest win ever. Onishuk was like, okay. In an earlier stream, I said I never beat anyone who was over 2,600 FIDE, but that's not true, because Alexander Onishuk was like 26. He was probably like 2630 when I beat him. But it was the same thing where he was down a rook in complications, but we were in time pressure, and I blew it. I blundered the rook in mutual time pressure, and I had to beat him in a queen ending up a pawn. It was really ridiculous. But now we have too many pieces. Now white can give up. I mean, some people just never resign, and I don't mind that. You know, if you are consistent about it and you just never ever resign till it's like mate or whatever, I think that's okay. There's even a few grandmasters who might do that, but it's like if you pick and choose, like sometimes you resign against some people, and then it can be a sign of sort of like disrespect. Maybe against some players you resign, you know, down all your pieces, and against others you don't. I think you should just be consistent about it. Otherwise people will be like insulted. Alright guys. We've got a million challengers. I'm not going to get to play all those games. The next subscriber challenge is Tushar, Arsenal Fan, Haberbomb, Juicebox Wizard. The rest of you guys will have to wait. Well, he doesn't have any threats here. There is no possible mate, basically. My knights are protecting each other. There's no way to mate me on d7, e7, f8, back rank, nothing. So I'm not concerned here. He can't even construct a mate. Alright, Romy, thank you for the game. Thanks for the bit donation. I hope it's instructive, but if you go back to that point, you know, where you castled, this is the kind of position where there just is no substitute for concrete calculation. So I thought you should play knight takes f5 in this position. And it's not that clear what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. I could take on d3, I could take on f5, I might be able to even take on g2. So this is a position where you really have to sit there and just, you can't play just on, oh, I'll just play a move, you know. You literally have to sit there, and you have 4 minutes. Try to work out as best you can what's happening. You know, just guessing isn't good enough here. White has to concretely try to figure out what the best continuation is. Alright, Arsenal Fan 7+3. But, alright, I was joking about his football chants. So e4, I'm supposed to play unusual openings. What are we doing with black against e4? Well, I've played a lot of things here on my Wednesday streams. a6. I played the Alekhine's defense. That's almost like a normal opening for me. Let's try something different. Someone said the elephant. a5. a5, no, a5 is a bad move. I don't want to play like really, really bad moves. I want it to be like a sort of credible opening that I don't normally play. So I thought we'll try something like the Pribble. I saw Yepeshin once play like Queen b6 very, very early here. But now knight f3. Okay, knight c3, knight f6 is a Pribble defense. But he's played knight f3. It's not a Caro-Kann, Arsenal. It's more like a kind of Pierce rather than Caro-Kann. I think Caro-Kann necessarily has to involve d5. That's like a definitive move. If you don't play d5, it's not a Caro-Kann. You can play c6 on the first move, and you can play g6 and d5, but it's got to involve d5 and c6. This is transposing to some opening called like the Wade defense, I think, after R.G. Wade, the Oceanic. I don't know if he's from New Zealand or Australia originally. He lived in the UK. International master. He was like editor for Bats for Chess for years and years. He had this awesome chess library I got to see firsthand. Pierce itself is not unusual, but I'm playing d6 and c6. You know, this is very weird. This is a cross between, you know, different kind of setups. But I'm going to play it like, now it is going to have the feel of a Caro-Kann if I have the chance to play, you know, I guess if I have the chance to play d5, that would be my preferred option. Because my bishop's outside the pawn chain on g4, I really don't want to necessarily play an e5 type of structure with my white square bishop outside the pawn chain, likely to get exchanged off. I guess I would prefer to play a d5 type of structure. But Arsenal fan has played this in a way where now it doesn't look like an e4 game. It feels more like a queen pawn game because he's played c4. Which is dynamic too. Because anytime I play d5 now, will it involve like my d5 pawn potentially becoming a weakness. Voodoo tactics. I'm thinking about d5, but it's a little early, maybe, for d5. It's probably playable. My concern would be something like take, and then we take with pawns, and then he plays queen b3, and it's hard for me to defend the pawn after that. If I play this, though, bishop e7, e5, where is my knight going? Arsenal fan, you could be shaking because of like withdrawal symptoms. Okay. Bishop e7. This is a problem. You might be diabetic. Do diabetics shake? Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why you could be shaking. Alcohol withdrawal. Okay, d5 structurally is the best move. But again, I don't like queen b3. Bishop e7, e5. That's a problem. You know, it wasn't a problem until I played bishop e7, because then if I go bishop e7, e5, in other lines I would have bishop takes f3. But he has e takes f6. He's like taking f6, taking e7, taking d8. You know, I don't have any of these tricks with bishop takes f3. Maybe I moved my queen. But where? Queen b6? Queen b6 is kind of a strange move. So after bishop e7, e5, I'm strangely out of luck. Queen c7, playable but an awkward square. d5, as I said, I don't like it. It's like early. I don't know. I don't know. Now I'm committed. I can play e5. I didn't really want to play that type of structure, but maybe I have to. Maybe I almost have to. This threat of e5 is constantly hanging over my head. Bishop e7, e5 is just not good. Man, I didn't want to do this. Now he has h3. Is there some kind of tactic with h3, bishop h5, pawn takes e5, pawn takes e5, knight takes e5? That doesn't work, right? So I can do bishop h5. Although g4, he is castled kingside. So any kind of plans with like g4 are necessarily like more risky than if his king was on e1. I didn't want to play this. I didn't want to play with my pawn structure based on dark squares and my bishop out on g4. Okay, this although to be perfectly frank, this position is probably theory of some kind. Quote unquote theory. I just had a horrifying feeling. Like I missed something. No, I just keep having this fear that he can do like knight takes e5, but I have bishop takes e2. He doesn't have a recapture. What about pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn? No, there's no tactics for white here. Honestly, Arsenal fan, years ago, like probably around 12 years ago, I had a game with International Master Dimo Werner where I was white. It was probably real similar to this. It was an IM tournament in Budapest, and I was already an IM, but I mean, I was playing in some IM tournament, I remember. And I remember it was, there was a German grandmaster who was a little kid at the time. I can't remember his name. Anyway, I think I had the same exact position with white. This would be how I would play it with white, most likely. Queen d2 looks okay. Just keeping the tension is usually the right idea in most cases. So I think this is perfectly good. Queen d2 even. But queen d2 is not the only square. You would also want to consider queen c2 probably. It's not a fianchetto position for black. You don't have bishop h6 type of ideas. Maybe queen c2. Not in love with black's game. I don't really play the straight up old Indian. That's what I feel. I feels like someone mentioned the lion's jaw or whatever. That's a variation of the Philidor. That's like the old Indian. I'm not really comfortable. I don't normally play the old Indian straight proper. Yeah, d5 I like for white, especially after rook e8. This is a very principled move. Excellent play by Arsenal fan. It's a good position for white. White is just better here. Extremely principled play. Just have to wait for my opportunity. Don't like black's game. Okay, it's stubborn and somewhat solid, but white has to be better here. Yeah, again, the only question for me is the queen position, because you might want the queen on c2 in some lines to bring the knight back to d2. It also could have been useful to play rook d1 without the queen obstructing the rook on d1. But it's a small point. I still think that queen d2 is okay. Acerbate, thank you. Which I am played with your chess sent? Sent. No autographs. Who played with your chess set, Triumphant? b6. This is an interesting move, rook b1. Focusing on queenside play. I don't like my game here. I never ever play this type of setup. It's extremely awkward. Don't have a plan really. Maybe knight f8. That leaves the c5 weak though. Yeah, actually, we have to do like this King's Indian thing, where I have to reposition my rook back to set up the f5 break later on, and give my knight this coming back to e8 idea. Just admit that my rook is on the wrong square now. Extremely strong move positionally from Arsenal fan, playing knight e1. He's like textbook play here. White is just better with more space. f4 is pretty debatable. I think it might be a mistake. But even so, it's probably not that bad. He's attacking the head of the pawn chain. You know, and that might be arguably not the best. Now I attack his knight, I can play bishop e5 and just anchor down the e5 square, which should give me good chances to defend. I'm not saying black's better, but this is a controversial decision to play f4. But triumphant, which country are you from? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the London system. I would think it would limit your kind of creativity and your learning of new openings, but for a time, I think it's fine. It's a good practical opening, as Carlsen has shown. But it's kind of like Magnus Carlsen could play any opening. You know, the fact that he plays the London system or whatever doesn't really matter, you know. To be perfectly honest, you know, he could play opening X. It really literally doesn't matter. To try to argue that Carlsen's results have anything to do with the openings he chooses is sort of strange. I wouldn't imagine it matters too much. The simpler the better. It's like Gadakamsky in Canada. So Canadian I am? Is that what we're talking about? I probably know most of them. Not know personally, but know of or have seen them. We've got the e5 square. And as long as we've got control of that, we're able to maintain a sort of stability here. White has the advantage on the queen side with space. But again, you know, his decision to play f4 was sort of impulsive. We're still passive, as you can see, but Arsenal fan has a lot of talent. Rook c2 even. My poor knight doesn't know where to go. I'm not in love with this square, but it's more or less just getting out of the way, stopping knight b5. I guess we'll settle with that. I still think white is better here. It's a small advantage, though. He constantly has to contend with the fact that his e-pawn is sort of sensitive to a6, a5. Nah, probably best not to do that. That's a nasty space advantage. Now my knight on c7 looks even worse. Didn't really want to play. I didn't really want to play h6 there. Whoa. I gotta get my knight back in the game. The only way to get back in the game is through f6, as you can imagine. Where's he going? He's made some progress on the queen side with the A file, but he's dropping his stuff now. Could have taken on c4, but this wins the exchange directly. Oh, we're gonna drop something? Still not that easy to make progress. Not sure about this. Very complicated. Man, he's just staying cagey. Nick G5 wins. That was a good game, man. Really good game. Just kind of time pressure meltdown, but awesome positional play by White. You're really on the right track. I think White had the advantage until the e5 square. You give me control of e5, I have a defensible position. You're still even slightly better, even in this when you played b5 here. The computer doesn't like that move, though. Okay. I mean, it's not necessary to play b5. I still think that White is at least equal here. So good game. Let's see what's up. So Tushar Kamde, Haberbomb, more what? Mary Lou, are you a subscriber? Soltigo, is Mary Lou a subscriber? More Wa? Tushar Kamde. Well, it was getting in time pressure at that point. I definitely miss tactics. Chess 960, especially. G3. So what do we do for unusual openings against G3? I think H5 is justified, though. You can also play a B3, A5. The lobster. My old friend FIDE Master Charles Hertan, he would basically call it the lobster. Anytime you do like A5, A4, H5, H4, it's just a claw, you know, grabbing at you from the side. I love the lobster theme, but I'm not going to do this, you know, unless it's justified in one of my stream games. I used to play this kind of stuff, you know, for fun all the time. C6 is principled. In conjunction with the lobster, I like to get this queen maneuver over here. I even invented my own strange lobster variations, but Bishop F4 looks strange. This does not seem like the kind of situation for a London system. Good positional play by Arsenal. 91 trading the light squared bishops. That's an excellent move. But that's what I was talking about earlier, Arsenal fan. If you had placed your queen on c2 instead of on d2, you have the option for knight d2. It depends. I mean, sometimes d2 is a better square for the knight than e1. But again, on e1 you have ideas as well. Double lobster. Man, twin lobsters. That's what they say at the seafood restaurant when you order like two. Get twin lobsters. But I think a5 might be going a little too far here. objectively, we might be going too far. Let's just calm down and try to play like principled moves. We need to develop our pieces. A5 is getting a little carried away, I think. Playing against that bishop on f4 to some extent. You know, I'm kind of playing against his bishops, if you want to say, like the pawn structure plays against the bishops. Willkommen. J Groovy. Here's queen d2. We could play a weird move like h3 at some point. It would make it awkward for white to develop his pieces. Let's go. I usually like to keep the tension, but this is definitely playable. Start looking for tactics. G6 with the idea of double fianchetto. No double fianchetto is not happening here. Just a fianchetto. It's like a hippo. He's planning on repositioning with bishop e3. Well, anyways. Now my queen's gonna have to move again, most likely. Knight f6, knight d7, e5. Don't really want to play e5 just yet. I mean, even a5 is kind of weakening. I guess knight f6. Knight h6 is kind of a cool move. Lobster-esque. Very lobster-esque. We're using the lobster's inherent ability to control h6 because I played h5, h4. Obviously we have the h6 under control. I'm gonna play knight g4. Now he's got knight a3. That's a creative and decent looking move. I could play bishop e6. But most likely I'm going to have to move that guy anyway. The guy being my queen. So we'll see what he does here. Tactics. Queen a6 perhaps. Would be a good square for my queen. I really like this move, knight a3. Knight a3 was genius. Just in time. Yeah, this is brilliant. Brilliant by white. This maneuver, knight a3, knight c4, just in time to play that. So I have e5, knight takes g4. Bishop takes g4, I lose a pawn. That's really sad. I have to trade off my powerful... Had to trade off my powerful guy there. Not really what I wanted to do. My knight on g4 I was so proud of. Alright, back to another plan. Another knight. Was another knight coming back to a theater near you. Not clear where I want to castle, or castle at all here for that matter. But Tushar's maneuver knight a3, knight c4 is still excellent. I feel like I'm playing chess 960. This game is totally in the 960 zone. So subscribers, we've got Haberbomb, Juicebox Wizard. We haven't had time to play any of the non-subscribers. Haberbomb, Juicebox Wizard. Etium is not a subscriber, are you? No. Another night where that came from has been called. This is how I would always play like blitz when I was pissed off or something. Just throw my h-pawn down the board randomly. Now maybe a5 is not a bad move. We take his bishop. I need to do something anyway. Grab some space. It's not clear where I should be castling. Or if I should be castling, probably not castling at all. We just have to play this position. How to make my bishops work with 16 pawns on the board. Both sides struggling. My bishops look okay, but what do we do? There's no pawn exchanges. There's no openness to the position. I don't know about a5, but I don't know what to do. Well, I don't want to, I'm just asking if Etium is a subscriber. He's really far down on the list. I would play the guys who are first in the list, not the guys at the bottom of the list. So here we are. Really weird position from the Twilight Zone. What I need to do is like explain my white squared bishop advantage of having the white squared bishop here, but how do you do that, G5. How does my queen creep into the game? I was thinking queen b7. Speaking of creeping into the game on the white square somehow. Wow, c4. Okay, I'm gonna have to castle now, and there is an open file at this point. Open file is relevant. My a5 pawn will be hanging in some lines. How to attack his c pawn? Maybe a4, a3. He's coming to the b file. Now hopefully he'll be off kilter here. I play rook b8, rook b4, quickly trying to lay siege to the e5. Wow, that looks pretty radical. I can take a pawn. Whoa. Yeah. Alright, he just like speculatively sacrificed a pawn. Doesn't have anything concrete. I thought he was going to do g4 and just pick off my pawn before. Trading pieces. What's up with queen takes c4? He may have some tactics. I had to do something. Now he's got nasty tactics now. Some strong attacking threats. Not sure c5 was a great move. King g8, knight takes g6. Almost immediately winning. Whoa, what? My queen is trapped? Trap my queen in mid-board. Wow, nice game. So he's just clearly better here. I was okay till I played c5. I have to stop queen b2, but I saw it a minute too late. Yeah, it looks like I'm okay if I just play rook b8, but that's chess, man. Good game. So my king is kind of exposed on the dark squares. I've got to play, let's see. So Haberbomb is next. Congratulations, nice game. I didn't see my queen getting trapped. Queen c4 was a bad move. Even taking that pawn went against my nature because the dark squares were getting weak. So my queen should have been protecting the dark squares in that position. It was doing the job on c3. It was, look how I lost the game because my queen went from c3 to c4, and then he got me with queen b2. This was a very bad mistake. All right, Haberbomb. Let's try something fun here. Flagged. I did not get flagged. I just lost. Did I get flagged? I guess I got flagged, but it didn't matter. I was totally lost. I was losing my queen. Against Haberbomb, what was I thinking we can do here? I wanted to play the Albin counter gambit. Maybe something else. Symmetrical Queen's Gambit. Let's try that. I think that white, white was equal till I blundered with queen takes c4. Okay, technically my blunder was until the next move. But he has good practical chances there with more time. Alright, taking on c5. This is probably not dangerous for black. The critical line is c takes d5. This just transposes to a kind of Queen's Gambit accepted. This disposition is okay for black. Rubinstein spent years in the sanitarium analyzing this position apparently. I'm sure that he came to the conclusion that c takes d5 is the critical line, not d takes c5. But I did lose on time, didn't I? That's how I technically lost the game. Or did I resign? I don't remember. Congratulations to Tushar, beating me for the first time in a while. Now we take back on c5. It's a Queen's Gambit accepted with colors reversed. I'm just thinking, is it possible to play a different way where we don't take back right away? No, I saw a strange game recently where black sacked the pawn. I'm just trying to remember. Bishop takes c5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5. How did this go? Castles. Takes. Just being a pawn down for black to get the bishop pair This is actually a line that I play with white against the Queen's Gambit accepted, but I'm down a tempo here, you know, so that's significant. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what happens if bishop takes c5, knight c3? What do I do there? I guess you could take on c4. There's a lot of things you could do. You're telling how I'm good in time management. Well, it's interesting terminology. Good. Okay, and this is because I'm streaming mostly, that I'm trying to use all my time to describe the position rather than necessarily thinking about the best move. But knight c3 ironically isn't necessarily white's best move. I mean, more traditional here to play like a3 and go for an extended fianchetto. I suggested this, but that doesn't mean it's the best move. But maybe knight f6 here is right. If c takes d5, knight takes d5 is most solid. That's actually similar to one of my students' games that we went over. With c takes d5, e takes d5, bishop g5, it looks like this game I saw where black sacked the pawn, but I'm not sure that's really sound. I get in the time pressure too much since I started streaming, and I think it might be related. And I was talking about this recently, but because I'm describing what I'm doing so much rather than playing on my own intuition, I think I've kind of lost some contact with my own intuition, and I need to sometimes play when I'm not streaming, just to kind of play without commentating. I think it's affected my play to the point where I'm getting in time pressure in my tournament games. Okay, the other thing is that time controls have changed. When I played the most pre like 2004, well, let's say okay, pre 2008. I don't remember when they changed the time control. It was in the early 2000s. We used to have like 40 minutes for 2 hours. I mean, 2 hours for 40 moves. C takes d5 here, so. Can I justify taking with the pawn and playing this IQP position? Pawn takes pawn, bishop g5. It looks like Rubinstein against the Tarrasch. Pawn takes pawn, bishop g5, d4. Okay, let's try it. It's safer to play knight takes d5. e3 is passive. And basically, bishop g5 looks like it might have some disadvantage in that it allows d4. That's what I'm not sure about. He's doing it anyway. But I have d4 here. Okay, I also have bishop e6, which is a passive but solid move. What's wrong with d4? Bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, blah, blah, blah. d4, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, knight e4, bishop e4, check, knight back to d2. That should be okay. So d4 is okay. And this is the reason why they play e3 in the semi-tarash. Stop me from playing d4. There's a lot of questions about move order here. So I have knight takes e4, and then evaluating this position I wasn't sure about. I also have bishop e4 check first. Which is better? Knight takes e4, bishop takes d8, bishop e4 check, knight d2, bishop takes d2 check. Knight takes d2. What is that, like a draw or something? This is what I was curious about this position. I mean, maybe I'm not playing a good line to try to play for a win, but I was just objectively curious about the absolute evaluation of this position. Haberbaum sort of just freaked out. Haberbaum, you freaked out. So I just went a piece. I could also play bishop d7 there, you know. So, but you're equal. I think he thought he blundered, so he panicked, but he didn't blunder. I mean, this is just like an equal position, or a tiny bit better for white. Oh no, it is good for me. Wow, I thought it was equal. Oh God, that's crazy. Wow, I miscounted the pieces here. For some reason, I thought you had enough. You're down a piece. Oh my God. It was better than I thought. I thought, okay, you know, he's got a little better king position, but you know, it's okay. I'm up a piece though. That's good. So he just blundered with 94. All right. Good to know. That's funny. It's good to be up an extra piece. Fell for the trick. It happens in the what is it? It's Cambridge Springs. You know, this sort of trap as well. F4. For me, that's a weird opening. But let's play something fun. Juicebox Wizard. Let's do G5. A reversed. This is about as weird as I'm going to get. A reversed Korchnoi Gambit. Once I played G4 against a strong Dutch player. He wasn't Dutch, but he played the Dutch. Stupid joke. Anyway, didn't go well for me. The Queen d6 might help out in variations where he goes like G6. And this is weird. C4. C4 is an annoying sort of combative move. We're really in a strange place now. I was hoping for something less dynamic than C4. That looks like a good move. Threatening to destroy my center. If I have to play C6, my whole position seems kind of strange. But I'm not sure I really have an option here. I mean, C6 is extremely passive. It's not what I wanted to do. I guess we could just take on C4. Man, that looks dubious as well. I guess Queen d6 is just too time consuming. Another strange opening. It's okay with white, but I think I'm pushing the envelope here, playing this with black. I'm basically having to play this passive move with c6 to maintain my center, but it doesn't seem to really fit very well with this wing gambit. Now my queen is even kind of exposed with knight c3, knight b5 type of ideas. It's like I need to develop. It feels like I'm playing the Slav exchange mixed together with the wing gambit. Very strange. But I have to play h6. I mean, this move is part and parcel for this whole idea. If I don't play h6, it doesn't seem like the whole thing makes any sense at all. The queen is placed here, I guess, to stop g6, you know, from being good return sacrifice. Why not e6 instead of c6? Just blocks my bishop on c8. It's bad. The bishop has good range from its original square here. This bishop may not be coming out this diagonal as well. With this wing gambit idea, like h6, either bishop h6 or bishop g7 would be normal for the situation. I mean, nothing's normal here, but under the circumstances, let's say, getting my bishop out makes sense. Bishop g4, speak of the devil. He has queen b3. Yikes. No, he's reacted really well here. Now I almost need to play e6. Okay, I guess we'll take. For lack of a better idea. It leaves his knight a little offside. I mean, it looks aggressive, but his other pieces don't back up, you know, direct attack with a knight on g5. Plus h2 is hanging. I'm not sure I necessarily want to take it, but it's an option. It may be a strong option, actually. Rook takes h2. Another handy dandy benefit of having the queen on d6. In American, I have to play in chronic time pressure or they'll kick me out of the country. What? What are you talking about? Okay, guys, we've got another half an hour left. That means at least 2 games. I've got challenges from a bunch of non-subscribers, so you know we'll play the guys who challenge first. But on Friday, I'm not going to favor the subscribers. Now this bishop e5 contains the threat of bishop covering the c6 knight, so he's got the idea of knight e5. Wow, where did that come from? Totally unexpected turn of events. Rook takes h2. This is weird. Okay. I feel like I'm playing the Scandinavian now. He could even play d5. d5 pawn takes knight. No, it's not real. Knight takes e4, queen b4 check. It's basically a Scandinavian. Yeah, we're going to castle queenside. You better believe it. The wing gambit, man. The wing gambit against the Dutch. Got a happy place to go with tempo, and then we're out of here. Because d5 is a big threat. Soltiga would love this position. Crazy, but not so bad for black at this point. It looks quite active. It really reminds me of Scandinavians. I mean, I guess, I don't know, what else could we do? I mean, castles queenside seems essential because we have to put pressure on the d4 pawn. Keep him honest, so to speak. I'm not sure about this, though. Did I have any other option, like bishop g7, maybe? Is a kind of weird move. But bishop g7 would have put pressure on d4 and also maybe prevented d5 with the threat of bishop takes c3 check and queen takes b5. So there's some possibility that bishop g7 isn't a bad move there. I'm not sure that black is better here. Black is actually still in a tricky and dangerous position. a3 looks kind of slow. I mean, I don't think it's a bad move. Or is it? Bishop takes f3. Can't see my clock. You guys can't see my clock. 3 minutes left each. Rook takes d4, no. Bishop takes f3, a takes b, bishop takes d1. That's not a problem. The problem is he just takes back with the queen on f3. That's the real problem here. Oh, I have to play queen back to d6, I think. Keeping him honest. I mean, queen a5. This stops him from castling. Or it doesn't stop him, but obviously there's problems there. Now it feels like white is like lagging a tiny bit, but not really because he has rook c1. He is, however, leaving his king in the center of the board. This is certainly complicated enough. Knight takes d4. I feel like I need to bring my pieces out. Bishop takes d4, queen takes, knight takes d4. I don't know. That's f3. That's called f3, sorry. Bishop takes f3. This is the most forcing move. White's bishops look very good. Material's even, but I don't have a safe king either. Both kings are unsafe. I guess development is roughly level, so it's a strange position. It's a very strange position. I don't know who's better here. Unclear. Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, knight takes d4, queen e4. Then I have moves. I have f5. Wow, he took with the pawn. Taking with the pawn. Unexpected. Most important priority here is my king's safety. So we've got to be able to play king b8 safely. Now he has knight e4, which is a move I didn't really calculate. Knight e4 might be seriously problematic. Oh, this was probably a very bad move by me. I had lots of options. I could have played queen takes d4. I played this too quickly. Queen takes d4 is fine for black. It's probably about equal. But knight takes d4 may have been a very, very bad error. Yeah, he's paying attention. Now I have to be extremely careful. Queen e5. Strong queen, strong knight, strong rook, but my king is exposed on the c-file. Fortunately, he doesn't have castles. His bishop's hanging. Rook check, king b8. My pieces are at home, though. These minor pieces at home are quite an issue. It's like castling queenside in the c3 Sicilian or something. Very complicated. Someone suggested queen d5. Koi suggested queen d5. Maybe that was a better move. Because with queen d5, it allows me to play e5. I just kind of forgot about that, but it makes some sense because I'm hitting his bishop on rook check, king b8, bishop f4 check. I can just play e5. So there's definitely something to be said for the suggestion of that. Okay, now I guess I'm just winning a piece. No, I'm not. He's got the check. King b8 now. I should be winning a piece, no? Queen takes b5. Rook c1 check, king b8. Bishop f4, e5. He has some tricks, though. Queen c3. Queen c3 threatening back rank mates, and my rook on h8. Now that may not really do anything. So maybe bishop f4 was like... Whoa. I almost had a heart attack. I thought my... Oh my god, he has a tactic. So he's a genius. Wow. Whoa. He's a genius. He tricked me. What is he, 1400? He's 1300. Whoa. That is disturbing. Juicebox Wizard is 1300. All I can do is like try to trick him here. Down the exchange for nothing. That was quite a tactic. He's a little stronger than 1300, but I've said that before. He's just going to lose on time in a winning position. But he proved his point. Wow, what a trick. Queen b5, and I didn't see it. Bishop f4 check. This wins by force. Holy crap. So queen d3, I can't take this bishop on b5. It's actually poisoned. Well, I guess I could even take that. Basically, any other way would have worked. Rook c1, knight c7. Yeah. I found the only way to mess it up. It was okay for me till... This queen d5 suggestion... Rook c1 check, king b8. He has a nasty move there. It turns out. Rook c5. Why is my queen e5 any better, though? Queen e5. Rook c1 check. He still has the same line, which I missed over the board entirely. But here I have rook d5, apparently. Just by complete chance, it turns out that queen e5 is better than queen d5 because of this slight slight difference in the position. Here I'm equal, whereas with the queen on d5, I'm really in trouble. But I blundered. Very, very nice game by Juicebox Wizard. Rook c1 check. This is perfect. I thought bishop f4 was a blunder, but it's like simply a strong move. The main point is that king a8, queen takes d4, for those of you who are not familiar with the theme of the back rank mate. This is the problem. Back rank mate on c8. You know, that's why I'm busted here. I saw this, of course, but I didn't see this queen takes b5 undermines my e5 pawn, and I'm just losing. So wow. All right, Malutz is up. The Icelandic Gambit. Knight takes f3. I didn't see that. Man. How when knight takes f3 would have worked. I mean, it just like it was always protected. I just didn't see how knight takes f3 was ever like a real variation. An Icelandic Gambit he wants to play. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I usually try to avoid it. It's sort of scary. I think I might have played this opening on 1 or 2 occasions. Remember my old friend Elon Schwartz, who's basically quit chess since he became a professional poker player. He's like a FIDE master. Years ago, he used to play this. He knew it pretty well. I was always kind of a little bit like unsure, but actually, I kind of avoid playing both sides of this opening, to be honest. Okay, I used to play it in blitz, but I never had the courage. I don't think I ever had the courage to play the Portuguese with black here. d4, queen e7. d4, queen e7, queen e2. Is that theory? No, d4, queen e7, queen e2, bishop takes c4, loses a piece, queen takes e7 check. I'm thinking I'm getting 2 different variations mixed up. I mean, this may be the right move. I'm not sure. Now, knight c3, knight e4, if I remember correctly, is the best for black. If bishop d2... What's up with bishop d2? Queen takes d4, bishop takes b4, queen takes b. That doesn't work. What is up with bishop d2, queen e7? Okay, this makes sense. Bishop d2, queen e7, but wait a minute. Bishop d2, queen e7. Take, queen d2, queen back to e7, or something like knight to c6. So, it's complicated. I mean, I know knight c3, knight e4. Let's try that. You're asking a lot of me here, because I really never play this. I ventured it a few times with black. Maybe this is just concretely bad for me. Okay, there has to be a... Maybe this is just concretely bad for white, though. Oh, no. Well, there ought to be a way to, like, bail out and equalize. But I thought that knight e4 was the correct move there. Okay, that doesn't mean it's the only move. But I thought that knight e4 was considered by the engine and stuff as the move. Because I think you have knight e4, and I wanted to play queen d3, but I just remembered that black has bishop f5 in that position, which that may be very bad for white, in fact. Okay, we can check it out after the game. Queen e7, bishop e3, and I think that now we're in like a position that's playable for both sides. I can play bishop e3 for sure. I don't really have another idea here. I mean, I guess you have to play bishop e3. Just isn't another move. Okay, now knight e4 is different because you don't have the pressure on d4. So I don't have to play queen d3. So he plays something else. This is still theory. But Malutz is a weird player. We haven't seen him in like 18 years. He was here like a year ago playing on my stream regularly. I mean, he's not a weird player. It's just weird to see him after not for a whole year. Bishop e3. Yeah, so they can play knight c6 and try to castle queenside. But I don't like losing the initiative. That's why I don't like playing this with white. I also don't trust it for black. I don't trust it for both sides. I think white's better, but it's very awkward to play. You have to memorize a lot of lines, and even then, an expert can probably get an advantage for white. But it's a lot of tedious memorization, I mean, for a variation that doesn't come up very often. So d5, like, wins a piece, but black has very good compensation in that, I guess. d5, castles queenside, and then move the queen somewhere. For example, queen a4. I mean, I looked at this years ago. There's problems with your idea of queen a4 check and a3, I think. Too slow. You're not developing any pieces. So d5 here, queenside castles, and then put the queen somewhere. Like where? Queen a4, bishop d7, pawn takes c6, bishop takes c6, black like sacks a piece. He has very good compensation. What if I just try to develop my pieces with something like bishop d3? Oh. I don't know about this. Okay, it's also complicated. Is this move even playable? Bishop takes d4. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, bishop somewhere. Bishop takes c4. That doesn't work. Well, who knows what works and what doesn't work here? It's giving me a headache. I already had a headache before this game, and now my headache is even worse. You think he missed knight g4? Well, I don't think he missed it. It's not a developing move. You know, knight g4 is not a developing move. It has problems. It may be playable, and it may be a variation, but I'm not convinced by that move. Normally, moves that develop pieces are superior to pieces, to moves that don't develop pieces. Castles queenside is the best developing move black can make here. You can kind of trust that in most cases. d5 doesn't develop a piece. Knight e2 develops a piece. It's not a hard and fast rule, but if you don't have time to calculate, stick with the developing moves. You're more likely to be right than wrong. That's the best advice I've given out all week. Very well might be a critical position for this line. It just seems like both sides' moves have made a lot of sense. As long as I can castle kingside, I'm safer than castling queenside, I think. Because my pawns are up. I've seen cases of white's king like getting mated on c1 by very strange things. Like a3, knight a5, knight b3 mate. I've played this line for black and blitz. I never played it that I can recall in a tournament game. I always played the c6 gambit. I played knight f6 Scandinavian a lot, but normally on c4 I play c6. Because I play the Caro-Kann, I can play interchangeably between the Scandinavian and the Caro-Kann defense. c4, c6 was always just like easier for me. I think I did try to play the Portuguese gambit once in a tournament game back in like 1998, but my opponent just declined it. But okay, that's Portuguese gambit. This is Icelandic gambit. I'm getting them confused. Yeah, that's different. Now, I don't think I ever played the Icelandic gambit in a tournament game. Portuguese gambit once. Yeah, I always just play c6. It's a good move. It equalizes. I never felt like it was necessary to take any risks. But if you don't play the Caro-Kann, I guess it's more appealing to play this gambit line. I don't know where the theory stands, though. I mean, there's not that many people that play knight f6 Scandinavian who are strong players. And that's... I think the opening has other problems. I don't really think that this is... I don't think that the question is whether or not the Icelandic gambit is sound. You know, I think the question is whether or not strategically knight f6 is a good move because of other variations, like positional variations. I'm not trying to refute it directly here. Knight plays knight g4, okay. Takes pressure off of d5 and e4, if you think about it. I could play those white squares might be something, but at the same time, I mean, there are threats like queen h4. So I can't just play anything here. I mean, I don't know how big a threat queen h4 is. I have h3, stopping the mate, you know, and I can try to win a piece here with d5. It very well might be critical, but my position is... My position looks a little sketchy, you know. Again, if we go with the theory of developing pieces, I should probably play something like queen d2. But maybe it's not enough, just routine development. Like what I was talking about against Romy, like you have to start calculating at some point. h3 is a really big waste of time. d5, he's sacking a piece here. Knight takes e3, f takes e3. And the question is, you know, how much compensation? He seems to have a lot of compensation, objectively. I'm just really low on time. This feels like a routine move, and it is a routine move, but we only have a minute left, and I wasn't sure what to do. d5 just creates a lot of weaknesses in my position. Winning a piece at what cost? So far, Black's play is perfect, I assume. This is a really long game, too. Almost 15 minutes. Queen h4, h3. This looks strange. Seems like a mistake. But I'm not even sure. But it seems inconsistent to move the bishop back to d6. Maybe not that clear, though. Oh, he has g5 now. Wow. Yeah, it looks like perfect play by Black. I mean, I don't know about bishop d6, though. That's the one move I'm not sure about. But even this seems to be pretty good. This is why I don't play this opening. Black has very strong initiative. This game took like 20 minutes. But we're in trouble here. The knight is killing me on g4. It's got to go. I'm not sure what the best move is. f3 is too weakening, though. Seriously. No, I think this is good. You can retreat pretty much everywhere. Knight h6. I'm not really interested in material. So at the end of the day, material is equal. But it seems like, you know, neither side has a winning advantage. Well, this f5 move is really strong. The longest game ever. The last game for today, guys, because I gotta go. Queen g7, excellent move. f4. Gonna like lose on time here. f4 is a good move strategically. Getting control of e5, really useful. I'm not sure if this was right. He's kind of melting down. Just resigned. I'm not sure if it was objectively not like better for black at some point. Yeah, so the main move here is knight e4. This is really a problem. I guess I have to give a pawn back with knight e2. Bishop takes c4 or something. This queen d3, I don't trust this. So there is a game or two. Bishop f5. Why did that happen? Okay, computer, I don't want to look at that. Anyway, so knight e4. Maybe bishop d2 is better. But objectively, I guess I'm not supposed to play d4. I should play like knight f3 instead. d4 may very well be a serious mistake. I'm not enough of an expert, so d4 is inaccurate. Bishop e4 check. This is inaccurate. Black is okay here. So someone suggested knight g4. I still don't like it. It's not developing. Now eventually he plays knight g4. There's no games here. I didn't like bishop d6. You should probably just take here. Something about queen takes e3 felt very artificial. Maybe possible. But, you know, I just feel like black has pressure down this line. So somehow this position should be okay for him. But according to the engine, like, he has to be very accurate here. So I played queen d2 and he played bishop d6, which felt wrong to me, somehow going backward. But it looks like he's still okay. g5 was a good try. And now looks like yes, knight takes d4. That's the game, right? Yeah. He's okay here. This, to me, looked equal. This was a strong move. Rook f4, which I don't know if you looked at, but it kind of boxes in my pieces. And then I'm lucky I got away, you know, with the advantage here. Even now he's equal. Queen d8. A funny move, but strong. So this is where he starts to lose. Again, queen d8, keeping your rook protected. Black is still okay. Only after this move it looks like he's in serious trouble. Even now he could play g4 and lock it up. Now he's in big trouble because this is just weak. So anyway, interesting game, guys. I've got to go. Thank you. I don't know, it wasn't accurate. I mean, I'm not supposed to play d4, but I couldn't remember. So it's better to play knight f3 or bishop e2 and not commit to d4 too early. But I don't normally like to go into the Icelandic gambit. Anyway, just for you guys, I will be back. I'll be back tomorrow. It's subscriber stream Thursday, 7 p.m. I'll send an email to everybody to remind you about the subscriber stream tomorrow. Okay, so thanks for subscribing. Thanks everyone. Thanks Koi TV for the bits and the support in general. I will be back Thursday night. You can check out the streams if you check out my videos on YouTube. YouTube is Video Chess Training, and there I upload all the streams after I finish them from Twitch. Also, you can support the stream with donations via PayPal or subscribe on Twitch. I really appreciate the subscriptions, guys. To thank you guys, we do the subscriber stream on Thursday. Tomorrow night we have game analysis, so if you are a subscriber or you subscribe, bring a game you played and we'll go over it here together on my Thursday night stream. Thanks everybody. Thanks Soltigo for moderating. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Bye-bye.